Welcome to Magnet Marketers, our weekly live show where we break down the head, heart, and hand approach to building sustainable growth in your business. During each episode, we share actual client marketing best practice examples, strategies, and tactics that will help you generate real results. Our belief? A magnet always works better than being a bullhorn to attract, retain, and build your brand. Ready to dive into this week's Relationship Marketing Training Tuesday? Well, let's get started. Here's your host, Mike Gingerich and Jessika Phillips. Yay, hello, and welcome to this week of Training Tuesday Live. We're Magnet Marketers, so our goal is always to help you become a magnet with your marketing versus being a bullhorn. And I am super excited for today's show. I know I say that every week, but this is my friend Chris in the house here today. If you have not met Chris, we're going to introduce him in just a moment, but he has taken some time out with us today to talk about using live video to build this community-wide attention and a spike in your attention, that craveability factor, and how he's done this and made it kind of his job to do this. Not kind of, it is his job. And he's been doing some big things with it. But before we dive into all the nitty gritty there, if we've not met before, hello. My name is Jessika Phillips with Now Marketing Group and the Relationship Marketing System. My personal mission is to help you love more, give more, and be more through the art of authentic relating. And my awesome co-host, he's Mike Gingerich. He's the co-host of this show and also the president of the web and development software firm, Digital Hill Multimedia, published author extraordinaire 5 times over, triathlete runner, biker, and leading business blogger at MikeGingerich.com. How's it going, Mike?
Hey, doing well, Jessica, and just excited to have Chris back. It's been a while, and he always brings energy and brings some good stuff, so looking forward to today. All right, so let me just give everybody a little bit of background on Chris Strub. And Chris is coming from Greenville, South Carolina today. And let's see, he works with for-profits, nonprofits to help them improve their social media strategies, level up their use of video. We're going to hear a lot more about that today. Speaks at events around the world on this kind of topic. Partners with Giving Days. We're going to learn more about that around the U.S. to amplify the causes of thousands of nonprofits and raise tens of millions of dollars. Just got back with doing one, Giving Day, New Hampshire. That was the real recent here. Now let's see some of these days, just give you a little stats on this kind of thing. He's produced Giving Days, which have raised more than $64 million. And the live streams have had more than 2,000 cumulative organic hours of watch time. And the biggest one-day Giving Day was in Louisville. $7.64 million that they raised there. So this is all about, how do we come together, amplify that community, and do that with live video. So welcome, Chris.
Hey, guys, it's great to be back. Thanks for the great introduction, and really overjoyed to see the cheering section here as well. So shout out to Julia and Jen, and of course our buddy Chad. They always make these live streams so much fun, you know?
Right?
That's right.
The energy, they bring the energy. And so do you, Chris, and people love you. That's why they're cheering for you. So I would love to know, if you do know Chris, where's the first place you've seen him? We were just talking about this actually before we got started. And I was like, you know what? Where did I actually meet you? I think it was on Snapchat. And it was during your journey of 50 states, 50 days, and you ended up turning that to a book and then a movie, which I got to watch, which was just amazing. So this is like literally in your DNA. It is all about giving for good, like you just shared. But what I want to know, what sparked this and kind of how did this all come about? First.
It is. And Jessica, thank you so much for the kind introduction. We could spend a whole half hour just talking about all the places that we've interacted as well, you know, from San Diego to Chicago to Lima, Ohio a couple times. And of course, Mike and I think we could spend another half hour just talking about running triathlons and everything too. It's such a pleasure to spend time with you guys, really. You know, I really got started in the live streaming game, I would say back in 2015, you know, really sort of got into that Brian Fanzo crowd, as many of us did, and really got hooked on live streaming with those 2 apps, Meerkat and Periscope, which launched around South by Southwest back then. Yeah, Jen says Wichita. I did actually go meet Jen in Wichita, which was a lot of fun, and Julie. So, you know, kind of realized early on in that mobile live streaming game, Jess, that there was really a lot to this. And I think we're still in that very early adapter phase here 6 years later, as we're all trying to figure out the best approaches to live video.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you guys have this wonderful show on a recurring basis. I do my work with giving days and events, and there's no right answer or wrong answer. But I'm blessed to have the chance to continue to keep trying.
Yeah. So you just decided that partnering with these nonprofits, because 50 states, 50 days, you were going around to a nonprofit in each state. Is that right? And then sharing their story and then tapping into the power of live video in order to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So you were just kind of, sounds like when you went to these events, you were seeing what it could do because of how it was opening doors for you and then trying to bring that to nonprofits. Is that what it turned into?
It's been quite an evolution to get here to the Giving Day guy sort of motif, right? So you did mention, in the summer of 2015, I took a road trip to all 50 US states, worked with a different nonprofit in every state. It's funny. I always think like, oh, everybody knows this, but I'm sure most people don't know it, right? So 6 years ago, again, did a solo road trip, worked with a different nonprofit. We created the film. So shout out to Ross Woods, and we debuted it at Social Media Marketing World, and Jessika was kind enough to be there with us, which was amazing. And after that trip, I got in and moved to Louisville, Kentucky, worked with our buddy, Dan Gingerich, who I pinged 5 minutes ago and said, hey, you better be here. Come say hi. And met up with the Community Foundation of Louisville as part of my work with Humana. They run Give for Good Louisville, which is that 24-hour online giving day that Mike referenced that has grown exponentially over the years, I think in large part to their usage of social media. And from that engagement with Louisville, I started working with San Antonio, St. Louis, and this year I'm working with 8 or 9 different giving days around the country so far. So it's kind of been a snowball effect. You guys know it better than everyone. It's all about the relationships that you build. And I think I've done a pretty good job of building relationships in the nonprofit space over the last 4 or 5 years that have helped me open those doors to work these events.
Yeah, now I think it's really interesting too. So like a nonprofit wants to bring attention to their day of giving, which is usually some type of 24-hour zone where they kind of maybe have a goal that they're trying to get the word out. Hey, this is what we're doing. If we raise this is how we're going to use it. And so a lot of those they're asking you to head that up. And so what does I know you could spend, again, 30 minutes talking about just one of those days, but I mean, in general,
I'm a talker.
what's
Sorry,
that
guys.
look like? What's that look like for you? What's that look like for you?
So the real key, and I'm sure this gets referenced in every single conversation that you guys have, is the community, right? So the nonprofits individually often struggle to try and especially accumulate new donors, right? I was listening to my buddy Tim Sarantonio talking about the cost of acquiring a new donor as a nonprofit. It's really challenging. So the key with the real magic behind a giving day is when nonprofits in a specific community, and I can show you all the different hats, whether we're talking about San Antonio or New Hampshire, the real key, Mike, is when the nonprofits come together and they really create something that's bigger than any one of themselves. You could say the same thing about, Social Media Week Lima, right? Is that it's really a community celebration and people come together to make it all happen in this really concentrated amount of time. And so when you have all that going on, Mike, it makes it a lot easier for all of the nonprofits to get earned media attention, whether we're talking TV, on the radio, and the newspaper. And of course, social media has become an increasingly huge part of what all the organizations are doing, especially during the pandemic last year and this year. They're leaning on their social media channels to get the word out. And through the power of live video, that's kind of where I come in, Mike, is a lot of the giving days are using live streaming video as sort of a central piece of the giving day, sort of the backbone, right? So as the community foundation, they're kind of running the show. And I've introduced this idea of using live video almost like a telethon or almost like a newscast where you're interviewing the different nonprofits as well as the stakeholders like government officials, local influencers, and different people from around the community, as well as sponsors, which I hope we'll have a minute to talk about if I ever shut up, and stir them together into this live streaming magic that goes all day long and really helps boost the profile of all the participants.
I love that you said that, the coming together, because that's where I feel that some nonprofits have been stuck, right? Or and not just nonprofits, brands in general, but especially like with nonprofits, they are used to just thinking community, local minded, which is awesome. They want to support their community, but they get stuck in the, maybe we have to do a chicken dinner pickup or doing this or yard signs or what have you, and just very siloed versus coming together, as well as using technology. Because now I know that I've supported some of your giving days and I'm in Ohio, right? Like, because it's
Appreciate
not just people coming together that are the nonprofits, but it's the awareness that it brings too. And people do want to do good. And even in 2020, the brands and the nonprofits that were doing things like this, they're the ones still bringing in the support, the donations, the awareness. Because a lot of times, unfortunately, the nonprofits, like, you just don't know that what they have going on. You just don't hear about it. It doesn't make its way to us finding out about. So it's really crucial that we tell our communities there's a better way, doing things like this. So I love that you're bringing it and spreading awareness around this too, because you've had some great success and it's been a lot of fun. I've seen you do, pay the layaway, all kinds of giving day things. But,
these you hit it right on the head, Jess. A lot of these nonprofits do try and do their own things. And the real beauty of the Giving Day, I couldn't have said it better myself, is their opportunity to come together. And really, as I've done more and more of these, I started live streaming Giving Days back in 2017, had the first meeting back in 2016. I've really seen an evolution into how they've become sort of a celebration of the community itself, which allows everyone living in the area to really understand why this is such a meaningful day in the community, right? Especially in some of the smaller communities. And, Jess, you live in Lima. I've had the pleasure of being there a couple times. I've met the one Uber driver. She was very nice. But it's a small, tight-knit community. So, for example, when I worked in York, Pennsylvania, which is a similarly very small community, and they come together to raise more than $3 million in a 24-hour period. I mean, we're not talking the whole state. We're talking about a very small region of they yelled at me when I said Northeastern. It's North Central Pennsylvania that comes together. And it's a historic moment every year to see how people are coming together at that level. So it is truly an honor to be a part of each one of these giving days that I get to work with. So, and Jules is watching from San Antonio as well. She has a nonprofit down there, also as part of the Giving Day magic down with the Big Give. So it's just, she could tell you, it's very, very special to be a part of.
I love what she's saying too. And you're right.
Yeah.
So the compelling storytelling with specific stories reach people, especially with animal rescue. And you can fill in the blank there, but people can see how their donations are helping. That's a great, great point. People can see that this is real. This is what we do. This is who we are. This is how we care. You can feel that when you're seeing somebody on live video. You can see that you care, Chris, about the organizations that you're helping. And that's compelling. And that's what gets shared.
I think all three of us would agree that people like supporting people. That's why we're all so bullish on the power of live video. Is even if you haven't had the pleasure of meeting your two lovely hosts here, I have, and they're awesome, and that's what it all comes down to is when you meet people, when you encounter people, you feel much more compelled to want to support them. That's why I have tried to take my skill set and my energy and apply that to this Giving Day model and really help bring so many of these individual nonprofits into their own live streaming journeys as well, right? It's not just about what we do on the Giving Day. I do a lot of social media trainings. You guys know I've seen you at different social media events around the country as well. So a lot of it is also trying to be that inspiring factor that helps nonprofits realize, hey, like, if Chris can do this, I can do this. We can do this. And I think that's really helped raise the profile of a lot of the nonprofits that have followed that lead.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, I guess I'm curious about another thing, like with a giving day, are there ways they're weaving in, paid corporate sponsorships in those days, or, and is there, and how do you kind of weave that in? Is there any structure
Sure.
that you've kind of found?
Yeah, it's a constant work in progress. Every giving day that I do, we're reevaluating the best ways to incorporate, especially the sponsorships. And this is something that I talk to all the community foundations about, because ultimately the concept of a giving day is built on the shoulders of these often for-profit and sometimes nonprofit sponsors, and through the power of live video. I know you guys do a wonderful job with StreamYard. I work with Switcher Studio, but whichever platform you're using, you're able to use some of those elements, the visual elements that you might have in the show, to put on somebody's logo, or type their name onto the bottom of the screen. Of course, we're also able to incorporate businesses into the actual video that we're creating, and it creates a much more tangible, visible interaction for those sponsors that are supporting the giving days with their dollars, by being able to come on the videos and be interviewed, whether it's by me or by one of the hosts. We can also play like a 15 or 30-second commercial from the sponsors. Oftentimes the sponsors will create their own awards or prizes, as we call them. So they can actually come on and they can announce the prizes, they can announce the prize winners. So really, Mike, the real magic and the mathematics of a giving day are both, number one, the collaborative nature of the community organizations coming together. But number two, there's a lot of prizes that nonprofits are competing for, and those differ from giving day to giving day. There are also often matching funds that can be in the hundreds of thousands to actually New Hampshire Gives had over $1 million worth of matching funds, so that when people go to support a nonprofit, their dollars will actually be doubled or sometimes tripled or more. So, and that's not possible without the support of the corporate sponsors that are making the giving days possible.
That's huge. I've even seen, like, when people get their donations read out loud too, that when we've done like a fundraising or what have you, as soon as we start reading names of people that have donated, even like $50, $100, what have you, more and more of those come in. Like, it's, like instant gratification of giving appreciation and gratitude, but also you can see like, oh, my peers are doing this, I need to do this too if others are watching. So I feel like that's somewhat powerful. I don't know if you've seen that too, like if you've just how the days ran, and if you set up goals or how that's ran.
Yeah, the giving day providers themselves are also working on creating ways that acknowledge the donors. And of course, all the nonprofits, as they're getting their donations in, are also kind of creating and acknowledging those donations in real time on their social media channels. I mean, we're talking, and I've got my sheet up here, we're talking, with Give Local 757, for example, in Hampton Roads, Virginia, there were almost 11,000 unique donors for the day. So it might be a little meticulous for me to try and read off 11,000 names on the course of a live stream. But I do think that those acknowledgements, and also, again, the opportunity, oftentimes, in Louisville, for example, they have a prize called the Golden Ticket, which I should have grabbed because I got to bring one home from Louisville. It's over there in the Fly the W studio. And what that ticket actually means is that any donation that's made during the course of an hour, whether it's $10 or $500 or whatever amount, they pick a random donation from that hour, and that nonprofit is awarded a $1,000 golden ticket. And so you talk about the gamification of a giving day. It's so much fun to watch and see how these organizations are being rewarded for their participation. And I've been present. I've been able to actually hand someone a golden ticket and like see their reaction when they win $1,000. Sometimes it's even more than $1,000. And it's really, really special to see these folks who work 365 days a year to make their communities a better place, all in their own individual ways, be celebrated in this fashion. You know, Jess, you've heard me say over and over again over the years that we are all famous to a few people. And the two of you guys do a remarkable job of making everyone that you encounter feel special. You know, I mentioned before, like, I don't do a lot of these type of shows anymore. I used to do a bunch of them. But when Jessika Phillips calls, like, you answer because she knows how to make you feel special. And if you've ever been to Social Media Week Lima, you know that as well. I'm sure that Jessika is going to be the last one leaving that building once again to make sure that she says hi to and takes a selfie with every single person that's there. That's what we're trying. That's the spirit of what we're trying to replicate with these live streams during the giving days, is making the nonprofits understand that they are special, that the work that they're doing is incredible. And I can't say that enough, that I do what I do because I love uplifting the nonprofits and helping them succeed. And especially in this last year, sometimes survive based on the work that we're doing, you know? So it's a constant cycle of gratitude. The whole nonprofit space really is. And that's what I've really tried to embody with the live streaming approach that I take.
It's really cool just to see what's out there. And by the way, Tim says hello to everyone. And Julia says, amen, preach it, Chris. Yeah, like, it's so true. And it's so cool just to see what all's out there and just the causes and the people that are behind those causes. So I have to feel that for nonprofits, it does several different things. One, it's building the community together. It's sharing the stories. It's expanding, like you said, the reach that they could have and finding new donors. It's collaboration together to strengthen just the support that they get in, but also like the team members that are, you know, dedicating their time, like now shining the light on them, because usually those are the people that are working in the background sometimes and don't always, you know, maybe see how what they do impacts others. Right. And now you can see, like, when people are giving you shout outs, you know, in the comments, and you're able to communicate with them and see how they feel about you and your organization. That's a really powerful thing I feel like to see that, oh, this is why we're doing this. Right. This is impacting people.
It is. I apologize that I missed Tim's comment because my camera is here and Jessika and Mike and the screen are over here. So if you see me looking this way, it's because I'm scrambling. But your point is spot on. It is a true honor to be asked to be a part of the show and to be a guest on the show. And I've tried to take that model, Jess, and really multiply that times 100, right? Like creating a space where people can be put in the spotlight and be a pandemic. Exactly. Lockdown trivia on my Facebook page was a lot of fun. Creating that space where people can be on camera and can share their story is a powerful thing. It really, really is, you know? And so for me, when a giving day comes around and they're like, well, what's our schedule going to look like? How many hours are we going to do? I'm like, I will stay awake and do as many hours as we possibly can. And the real fun part about the way we've done it this year, you know, asking the nonprofits if they want to be a part of the show, and then being able to accommodate, you know, sometimes 40, 50, 60 nonprofits throughout the course of a single day through the power of these live streaming tools like Switcher. It's really special. And just, it's overwhelming, the emotion that you feel. I know you feel the same way, Jess, as an event organizer, being able to hand people a microphone and say, okay, here's your opportunity. Oftentimes the first time someone's ever spoken on stage could be in Lima. Mm-hmm. That's a really cool feeling. And it's similarly cool for me, but in a different way.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Love it. Tim says he's looking forward to coming to Lima for the first time and seeing Jim for the second time in person.
Love it.
And they do a show together. So that's awesome. No. Okay. So,
it's a beautiful place. It really is.
It is. We bring good-hearted people together. I love it.
I told Julia if she gets stuck at the train to bring a good book, because
Yeah.
it is the longest train
He's
intersection.
not lying. He's not lying. Not
Yes.
lying. It is like literally you'll be there for 20 minutes. Not exactly.
Just pop in the bar on this side of the train
Yeah.
station.
Yeah. You'll be
And
fine.
then by the time you're done with your drink, you can walk back across the rest of the
Maybe
way.
2 drinks. Yeah. But yeah, no, he's not kidding. But yeah, that's something that Lima is famous for, trains for sure. But no, yeah. And I loved having you in Lima. I would love to have you back in Lima because I feel like you're doing such big things and there's so many nonprofits here and we work with a lot of nonprofits. And so I think it's important that they see the work that you're doing and also getting some ideas so they can do it too, because you've just mentioned so many different organizations. So, and today you said that there's National Giving Day, like a conference going on as well.
So today is the Dream Big conference that's being run by Neon One, which is one of the two major Giving Day providers.
Awesome.
So that conference continues tomorrow if anybody is listening and is really interested in learning more about that. But
well, I want to know, like, how does someone go about getting this started? Like, what's the very first step if they're interested in doing
the
something?
very first step is having a heart as large as Jessika Phillips's, because you know what it takes in terms of trying to get a live event off the ground. I would say it's that similar level of dedication. And every Giving Day that I work with has that common theme of having someone. And I'll go back to York, Pennsylvania and shout out my friend Megan Given, who is just the nicest, most pure, selfless human being you'll ever meet. And to create a Giving Day and get it off the ground, especially in a small community, is something that if you have the courage to make it happen, you will find those people that will surround you. Ask Jessika Phillips what it's like to run Social Media Week Lima and what it was like when you got started and you're like, hey, you guys want to come to Lima, Ohio? And he's like, Google it, like can't find it. Exactly. And now it's like the hottest ticket in town, right? So when you believe in what you're doing, let me sum it up quickly. I would contact your local community foundation. If you really thought that you were passionate about wanting to get something like this started and you said, that's me, I can do that. I would start with your local community foundation or a similar organization that has tentacles, isn't really a great word, but that's sort of what it is. Deep relationships in the nonprofit community, and give yourself a year out to start that planning process. But there are definitely a lot of communities that are starting new Giving Days. And I would reach out to either the team at Neon One Tech, or the team at GiveGab, which is the other, I would say, those are the big two Giving Day providers. They do the tech that allow you to see, like, this is how much we've raised, blah, 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 blah. And they would certainly love to have that conversation with you as well.
That's huge. That's amazing. I know that hopefully many of you are getting some good ideas from just hearing the wisdom that Chris is providing. And we want to share some of the examples as well. So if you want to get the recap of this blog, you can type recap if you're watching on Facebook, or just type recap wherever you're watching from, and we'll make sure to get you the link to the blog. But if you're typing on Facebook, type recap, it will automatically generate an opportunity for you to get the blog right in your Facebook Messenger. But we will be sharing examples as well as connections to Chris's profiles, some Giving Day links, and all the people that he's referenced here. So super pumped for sharing that out, because I think this is what it's all about. I think in 2020, again, I hate going back to there, but I feel like it was like that push that many of us needed of saying, like, we have to come together in order to all survive as a community. And it was even more so this feeling of togetherness. I feel like that was the silver lining. Like, I've seen so many restaurants and bands and event organizers coming together to rally behind each other to make sure everyone's okay at the end of this, right? And the same thing's going to go for our nonprofits and how we protect all in our community. If we want our communities to be a great place, we need to take advantage of things like this, Giving Days, but also just live video. So even just using your voice and going and shining the light, using live video to do that and help some of the nonprofits kind of shine the light on them before even doing a Giving Day, I think could be helpful. Yeah.
1,000%. I mean, that's really what it's all about, is thinking consistently and really we could do a whole nother hour on this, Jess, but building that bridge towards the giving day as a nonprofit, you want to try and earn that trust of your prospective donors and of your community before you get there. You can't just snap your fingers and show up on a giving day and expect folks to show up. But if you're awesome like Jules and Peanut there, you can see at the bottom of the screen, she knows year round that I've got my eye on Peanut and all the great folks in San Antonio. I gotta do this just for Jules. Here we go. We're gonna switch hats. That's just for you, Jules and Scott. There you go.
Big give, that's what she says. So
that's it.
So what's up next for you?
I am flying to Wyoming. July 15th is, what do we say? 14th. July 14th is WYO Gives. It'll be my 6th giving day of 2021. And Jessica, real quick aside, if you read 50 States, 100 Days, the book, or if you've seen the film, you may remember a young woman named Abby. And Abby is based in Cheyenne, Wyoming. So I can't make any promises. I'm going to try and see if I might be able to say hello to Abby and see how her presidential campaign in 2052 is coming along.
Oh, she was amazing. Oh my gosh. I love that.
I think you would agree. She is the star of 50 States, 100 Days, the film for sure. And of that whole trip.
Yes.
So,
for sure.
And I'm working Give for Good Louisville and the Big Give again in September. So I can't wait for that. And in the midst of that, I'm doing a whole lot of fun travel. Taking the train down to New Orleans on July 1st. So that'll be the Crescent train, which will be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
So,
awesome.
Nice to get away for a little bit.
Love
it. Now this is great stuff, Chris. Great stuff.
So, and I know Twitter is where you usually keep the updates of things going. Is that the best place for people to follow you, or where would you like them to follow you at?
I would say so. If you don't think I'm a weirdo by going like this at the beginning of the video, I was capturing Instagram stories. So you guys know I'm always over on Instagram at Chris Strub. Twitter is another great place to find me, but I hope that people realize it's not about just like finding someone and following them. Like, let's chat. Like, I'm a talker. As you guys have seen through the show too, like, let's strike up a conversation and let me know, most importantly, what I can do to help you, no matter where you may be around the world.
And he's so down to earth. That's how I met him. Like, I was watching him on Snapchat. I don't even remember like how it came up, maybe suggestions or something. And I'm just like, freaking love what you're doing, like shining the light on others. You were traveling around in your car, and if you haven't heard the story, check it out. 50 States, 50 Days.
It was probably a Fanzo shout out. It's probably what happened.
I don't know if it was, because I'm trying to remember when that was, but because it was right around the time I think he and I had just became friends too. So maybe, but I don't think so. I think I had met you before you two connected. But we hadn't officially met because it was my second year of Lima hosting Social Media Week Lima. And we were talking about bringing you there, but it wasn't going to be on the path in time.
Back in the day, I dusted this off for you too. This was the only place that I could find it on short notice, but there's you see how dusty this is?
Yes,
there's my Road to Social sticker.
Love
so that
it.
was from our cross-country road trip from Lima to Denver a couple years ago. Tons of fun.
So fun. So many great people. So I encourage all of you to check out what Chris is doing. Follow him wherever you are hanging out. Learn about giving days and how you can support our communities with the nonprofits within them, and using live video just to add some extra humanity. It's amazing what can be done when we all just come together and collaborate and create this sense of belonging. So thanks all of you for joining in with us today. Thank you, Chris, for your time and stepping outside of a baseball game even. That's big.
I'm going back. I'm going back. We'll see what inning it is.
And thank you, Mike. I hope all of you have a great week, and we'll see you back here next Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard
Time. And go to Social Media Week Lima. Even if I'm not there, go. It's a great, great event, and Jessica does a marvelous job. So if you're on the fence, go.
Thank you. Yeah, you can go to sociallima.com and find out more there. All right, everyone. Have a good rest of your week. See ya.